The synopsis. At 18, I was assaulted. The culprit was never caught, but I found myself pregnant with his child. It was then that Lin Jian appeared. He stepped into our lives, willingly accepting both me and my son. People sneered at him, mocking him for raising another man's child, but he never let it bother him. For years, he treated me with nothing but tenderness, until the day I stumbled upon his old diary. It was filled with a dark, suffocating obsession for me. In a moment of chilling realization, the truth hit me. He was the culprit. Chapter 1. Mama, isn't Papa coming home for my birthday? Lin Jinyi, my son, tugged at my hand, his voice small and hopeful. Although Lin Jian wasn't his biological father, Jinyi knew no one else. Jian was always harsh with him, leaving the boy perpetually walking on eggshells. Maybe he's just busy, honey, I said, stroking his head to comfort him. But I heard Papa say yesterday that he'd have time today, the boy countered. Really? What exactly did he say? He said he'd have time to go kill him tomorrow. My heart skipped a beat. Lin Jian wasn't a man who made jokes. I didn't have time to dwell on it before Jinyi pulled at me again, begging to go to the amusement park. To distract him, I led him toward the park in front of the play area. While waiting in the crowded line, I called Jian. Jian? Through the roar of the crowd, his voice sounded thin and exhausted. Qin Wen? Are you hiding something from me? I asked, trying to keep my tone light. He avoided the question. Qin Wen, I miss you so much. Then, I heard it, the sickening sound of a blade sinking into flesh, followed by the frantic beeping of a disconnected line. I called back frantically, but there was only silence. Lin Jian, don't do anything stupid. I instinctively reached back to pull Jinyi home, but my hand met empty air. A cold pressure suddenly pressed against my waist. Be quiet and follow me, a voice hissed, unless you want your kid to get hurt. Before Jinyi was born, there were 1,000 times I wanted to end his life. But I am human, not a monster. I had raised this child for 5 years. I couldn't let him go. I complied. The man shoved me into a car, though he was strangely careful, shielding my head so I wouldn't hit the frame. Who are you? I demanded, glaring at him. The man wore a mask, his eyes the only thing visible. Eyes I didn't recognize. He ignored me and started the car. The windows were taped over with black plastic, leaving me blind to our surroundings. Panicked, Jian's last words echoed in my mind. Do you know Lin Jian? I asked. In the rearview mirror, his eyes flickered. He spat out a harsh laugh. Don't worry. Someone is going to avenge you. He won't survive the day. What do you mean, won't survive? Tell me. I lost control, lunging from the back seat to grab his throat. I squeezed with everything I had, feeling the pulse in his neck thrumming against my palms. He simply pulled the car over, letting me choke him. Eventually, I realized I couldn't kill him and slumped back, sobbing. Please, tell me about Jian. I love him. I can't lose him. The man sneered. I hope you can still say those words when the time comes. We stopped in front of a weathered small building. He opened the door. Go inside. Where is my son? He's already home. Call your nanny and check. I called Auntie Wang, and once she confirmed Jinyi was safe, I felt a wave of relief. The man leaned against the door frame, dangling a set of keys. Do you want to go in? Inside lies the truth from 5 years ago. The memories of that night were a blur of pain and nightmares. It's exactly what you're thinking, he added, tossing me the keys. The choice is yours. The building looked gray and forgotten. Inside, the air was heavy and mysterious. In the darkness, I realized that while Jian had always helped me try to forget, the wound had never truly healed. It had only rotted. I needed to rip the bandage off myself. The man patted the dusty wall, revealing a faded certificate of merit. The name on it was Lin Jian. "Hurry up," the man said. "This place is slated for demolition." The smell of mold triggered my chronic bronchitis, and I began to cough uncontrollably. I knelt on the floor, searching every corner until I found a rusted trunk. The combination lock was worn. Jian once told me I was his only secret in this world. I tried my birthday, 0625. The lock clicked open. Inside was a diary. The first page was dated 6 years ago. "I love Qin Wen." As I flipped through, the entries became increasingly obsessive, almost deranged. "Qin Wen is so beautiful. I want her to belong only to me. I want to lock her away. She smiled at someone else today. I've changed my mind. Qin Wen, I want you." The final entry was dated the day of my assault. "Qin Wen, you are finally mine." "Do you still love him?" The man laughed mockingly. "This is the man you love." I curled into a ball on the floor, my world collapsing. Even with the evidence before me, I wanted to believe it was a trick. "I want to see him," I whispered. "You'll never see him again," the man said wildly. "Lin Jian is dead." Jian was always the one to dry my tears, whispering that he'd stay by my side forever. But when I saw him again, he didn't move. A dagger had pierced his heart. Beside him lay another body, the man who had killed him. The police said they had fought violently. Jian had learned to fight just to protect me, but his opponent was a seasoned criminal. Jian had been stabbed, but it wasn't a fatal blow initially. He had chosen to die, lunging back at the man to deliver a lethal poison needle to his neck. He had collapsed, the dagger driven deeper into his chest by the fall. The man who kidnapped me was Song Baijian. He claimed to be Jian's arch rival, but I didn't believe it. I saw the way his eyes reddened when he looked at Jian's body. "What kind of man was he?" I asked. "A freak," Baijian spat. Standing before Jian's portrait, I told my son, "Don't cry. He wasn't really your father." In truth, when I saw the second body, I knew. There was a faint scratch on his neck, a mark I had made 5 years ago during my struggle. That man was the real culprit. My mother had died in a car accident while looking for me that night. My father had died in an accident on a construction site shortly after. My life had been destroyed, and the monster had finally died, but he had taken Jian with him. I pointed to Song Baijian in the crowd. "Jinyi, that man is actually your father." Later, I walked with Baijian. "You hate him that much?" "He's the person I loathe most," he muttered, though his eyes were brimming with tears. "You're a terrible liar," I said softly. "The diary you gave me was a fake. Jian's handwriting was never that messy. He told me you were his best friend." I had found the real diary in the trash later. It was thick, spanning 10 years. "She's the only one who would talk to me. Her name is Qin Wen. She is so gentle. I want to be her friend, but she has so many friends. I don't deserve her." He was a stuttering boy from elementary school I had once defended. He had followed me through middle school and high school, and protecting me from bullies in secret, even taking out loans to pay my tuition when my family couldn't afford it. He had even manipulated the QQ app to talk to me under Baijian's name because he was too shy to speak to me in person. Then came the entry after my assault. "I'm going to kill that animal." He had stayed with me, accepted a child that wasn't his, and faced the world's scorn just to give me a home. I told her I'd stay forever. It's the only lie I've ever told her. I'm going to die soon. I hope she remembers me, but I hope she doesn't cry. Goodbye, Qin Wen. In the next life, I want to meet you properly. Half a month later, I was a skeleton of my former self. I screamed my love for him into the wind, but only the cold air answered. I called Baijian one last time. I have a favor to ask. Take the boy. I knew it, he sighed. You're just like him. I left him the house and the money. I couldn't be bound by the son of my attacker any longer. I returned to that old building. I cut my wrists, the red blood pooling on the floor. Lin Jian, don't be afraid, I'm coming to find you. Lin Jian's POV. I finally found that scum. He was trying to flee the country. I used my body to block his car, and we fought. I wasn't his match, but I didn't care. I drove the needle into his neck and felt the dagger sink into my chest. As I took my last breath, I felt a strange peace. I had finally avenged her. I didn't leave after I died. I became a ghost, lingering by her side. I watched Baijian's terrible acting, watched her find the fake diary I'd asked him to make. I wanted her to hate me, so she wouldn't suffer from my death. But when she curled up on the floor and sobbed, my non-existent heart shattered. I tried to wipe away her tears, but my hand passed right through her. Days passed. She stopped eating. She looked into the void and whispered, Lin Jian, do you miss me? I'm right here, Qinwen. I've always been right here. I nodded frantically, shouting at the top of my lungs, but my voice never reached her. She closed her eyes and collapsed into the pile of glass. The jagged shards tore into her back. You really don't want me anymore, do you? She whispered. Otherwise, how could you be so heartless as to leave me all alone like this? I screamed my denials with every ounce of my soul. Finally, it seemed she heard something. She crawled up from the pool of blood, her voice trembling. Forget it. Whether you remember or not doesn't matter. I miss you so much. She knelt on the floor and wept, an endless stream of tears that wouldn't stop until it was time for Lin Jinyi to come home from school. In a frantic blur, she wiped the blood from the floor and changed into a black long-sleeved dress before opening the door. When the little brat reached out to hug her, she instinctively flinched away. I knew why. Her back was still a mess of blood and glass. From that day on, Qinwen became addicted to self-harm. She would carve row after row of scars into her arms, stopping only when the flesh was raw and bleeding. Seeing her so despondent made me desperate. I wanted to drag her to a hospital. I wanted to call Song Baijian and beg him to take her away. But the living and the dead cannot speak. If I could have, my first call would have been to her. She always said she would listen to me, but it was nothing more than a hollow fantasy. I was forced to watch her waste away until she was nothing but skin and bone, just as she had been when we first truly met when she was 18. Back then, she was a fragile thing, and I had spent years piecing her back together, bit by bit. Now that I was gone, what was she supposed to do? My only answer was the sight of her sleeves getting longer and longer. Even in the sweltering heat of summer, she wore them to hide the daily cuts that grew deeper and closer to her arteries. I didn't want her to die, yet living had become nothing but a prison for her. If she came to me, I wouldn't hesitate to open my arms. If we both existed as shadows, could we finally hold each other without fear? I tried to touch her. She was still warm. I could feel the steady, rhythmic thrum of her heart against her ribs. If only that heart could stay warm forever. On the 10th day of my existence as a ghost, Qinwen looked in the mirror and burst into tears. Her own reflection terrified her. She reached out, stroking the glass, asking the woman on the other side who she was. Who else could it be? It was the Qinwen I loved most. She submerged herself in the bathtub, letting the water rise above her nose and mouth until her breath was cut off. She was trying to end it. Qinwen, don't do this. Don't be impulsive, I cried out. But before I could finish, she suddenly hauled herself out. Wrapped in a towel, she rushed to the balcony. Lin Jian, I love you. Qin Wen loves Lin Jian. As she screamed into the night, my own vision blurred with ghostly tears. I love you too. Qin Wen, Lin Jian loves you, I shouted back, the sound vibrating through the air until my ears rang. But she didn't hear a single word. Then, she called Song Baijian. The moment I saw her dial his number, I knew what she intended to do. She was preparing to die. I began to regret everything. After we married, she rarely went out. A science student turned author, she used to tell me her stories. Everything under her pen was delicate and vivid. I wanted the whole world to see her talent. So when she first started writing, I secretly created hundreds of accounts just to boost her views. I stayed in the shadows for everything she did. She might have suspected, but I saw her mood improve bit by bit, and that was enough. It didn't matter if she knew. It only mattered that she opened her heart again. I regretted my own arrogance, and I thought I was protecting her by blocking out every hardship, but I had inadvertently nurtured a fragility in her soul. If she were just a little stronger, perhaps she wouldn't be seeking death. But then I thought, being able to meet her at all was the greatest luck of my life. She handed Lin Jinyi over to Song Baijian. He agreed without hesitation, noting, "Don't you feel it? You're becoming more and more like him." His words brought a secret spark of joy to my heart. Two people who love each other will eventually influence one another. Song Baijian was my only true friend in this life. In the next, I'd be happy to be his son, though I'd try not to torment him too much. He had already done so much for me. Qin Wen returned to my childhood home. With practiced ease, she pressed a blade to her wrist. I closed my eyes, me unable to watch. Severing one's own artery must be so painful. Through the sound of falling rain, I suddenly felt a warmth against my chest. Someone was pressing close to me. Her arms wrapped around my waist as she stood on her tiptoes, whispering into my ear, "Lin Jian, don't you dare think you can leave me behind." My eyelashes trembled. I was terrified this was a dream, that if I opened my eyes, everything would vanish. But then, soft fingers gently pried my eyelids open. In my narrow field of vision, I saw the face I had longed for day and night. "Lin Jian, did you miss me?" she asked with a playful grin. My throat tightened. I was afraid that if I spoke, I would break down in front of her. Instead, I pulled her into a desperate kiss. Our teeth clashed, our lips bruised, but it was a lingering, soul-deep connection. The bitterness vanished as our tears mingled. As long as Qin Wen was here, everything was beautiful. Her small hands were so thin they felt skeletal, and when she gripped my hand, the pressure was almost painful. I squeezed back. "Qin Wen, why didn't you eat? Why didn't you take care of yourself?" I touched the scars covering her arms. "Why did you hurt yourself like this?" She smiled. "I wanted to see how long you'd stay hidden, but I forgot what a ninja you are, Lin Jian, so I decided to come find you instead." She threw her arms around my waist, pressing her face against my chest. Neither of us had a heartbeat anymore, yet as we clung together, I felt a phantom thrum, a synchronized rhythm. They say that if two people's hearts beat as one, they will find each other again in the next life. "Humph," she drawled, but kissing my brows, my eyes, and my nose before settling on my lips, as if memorizing every inch of my face. "Lin Jian, in the next life, let it be my turn to love you first." Those were her final words before our souls began to fade. Before we dissipated entirely, I shouted into the void, "Qin Wen, I still want to love you in the next life." Everything returned to dust. All traces of us vanished, but it didn't matter. Those with matching heartbeats will always find their way back to one another. Author's note: Thank you for listening to this story on the Story Pot channel. We wish you a day full of joy and happiness. Please remember to like, share, and follow to stay updated on our latest videos.